Officials of BTVI commending the government for providing free training. A local attorney weighing in on the Grand Bahama economy. And a new sub-program promoting critical thinking. We will tell you how.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all. I'm Shashina Rowe-Parkinson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the country's national budget passed in the Senate yesterday. Included in the budget is a plan by the government to provide free education to BTVI for all interested Bahamians. Tonight, the president of the institution says this move will certainly help to develop a more diverse skills bank. Italia Hall reports.
The nation's leader made the announcement during his budget presentation. Free training for Bahamians at the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute. But many are still asking who's eligible, while the president of BTVI, Dr. Robert Robinson, says they are still working on some of the details involved in the plan. However, he says those seeking to benefit must be full-time students, which is equivalent to 12 credits per semester. He says the overall intent is to bridge the skills gap.
From various employers and others, we've heard there is a skills gap. We've seen that ourselves. Basically, it'll be for people who meet the minimum requirements to come into BTVI, because that's an accreditation issue for us. It will be available for existing students as well as new students. Hopefully we can focus some of the funding on the trades specifically, but we also have funding available for other types of courses.
Robertson says those enrolled can receive certifications, diplomas, and associate degrees in a wide range of courses.
ICT, for example, information and communication technology, courses in massage therapy, for example, in Nassau. We do want to try to make it as widely available as well in the whole Bahamas, not just in Nassau and Freeport. So there will be some online courses that will assist. Some high school students will be able to take some bridging courses, dual enrollment courses into BTVI programs.
The free courses will begin in the fall, and all students must meet the attendance and GPA requirements to keep the scholarship.
We're busy now working on the details of the logistics. We need new instructors, for example. We need better physical plant, trying to make the IT system work better in both campuses. There's a lot to do between now and then, but the government's been very supportive in helping us to get that done.
But Dr. Robertson says their goal is to maintain the quality of education that they deliver.
It's of no value to do free education if you don't actually get something from it, and it is accredited. And so our programs are accredited. We have articulation agreements with schools in Canada, the United States, and in the United Kingdom. So a student could do a 2-year program with us and transfer that to one of these other, schools and institutions, which, given the free nature of the 2 years with us, makes that entire package extremely valuable. And so there's a lot of opportunity with respect to that.
The president says persons have been expressing major interest from across the country, and if you want more information, you can visit any of the BTVI locations. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Italia Hall.
The National Training Agency also helping to prepare the country's future workforce. The NTA launching its 7th cohort on Grand Bahama. The young people will go through 4 weeks of training before going into the workplace for practical experience. Sabrina Brown has more.
The National Training Agency focuses on soft skills development and on-the-job training. Since the program was launched on Grand Bahama in 2014, more than 400 young people on the island have been trained by the NTA. Executive Director Gadville McDonald says more than 33% of those trainees are currently employed, and they expect that number to grow.
We are focused on ensuring that beginning at the end of this cohort, that you are prepared for the workplace, but not only are you prepared for the workplace, but at the end of this cohort, that we tweak that number up to at least 40. So, in other words, our objective is to make sure that at least 40% of you are employed.
As another group of young people engage in the comprehensive training, McDonald says their success in the program is up to them.
Whether you are part of that number is dependent upon you. It depends upon your participation. It depends upon your involvement. It depends upon your focus. It depends upon your commitment to the learning that you will obtain here over the next couple weeks. We focus on competency-based training. In other words, we don't just focus on the learning, but we focus on the application. In other words, we test your ability to be ready on day one.
As the government works to improve Grand Bahama's economy, McDonald says the NTA is mandated to prepare young people for opportunities to come.
Our focus is making sure that you're prepared for all of the opportunities that is going to emerge out of the effort from our government. At the National Training Agency, our mandate is to focus on what is the current opportunities available in the workplace, but also to focus on emerging opportunities. And we see a lot of emerging opportunities here in Grand Bahama. And as a result of that, we will be tweaking our program to make sure that you are prepared for those emerging opportunities.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Switching gears now, a local attorney is weighing in on the Grand Bahama community. Tonight, he is calling on the government as well as the Grand Bahama Port Authority to go the extra mile and make Grand Bahama grand again. Attorney Osmond Johnson says if the government must raise VAT, then there should also be a corresponding increase in minimum wage. Johnson says with the current economic times, particularly in Grand Bahama, many are finding it hard to make ends meet.
Without a corresponding increase in the national minimum wage, the government is taking away yet more funds from an already impoverished local economy such as Grand Bahama and giving us absolutely nothing in return. And I simply don't see how a system like that can function effectively. And it doesn't.
But he says that Grand Bahama is in dire need of foreign direct investment and demands that the Grand Bahama Port Authority do what it must to ensure that this island succeeds.
We require $1 billion investment in Grand Bahama to really see some kind of recovery in this island. And under the current leadership that we've seen from the Grand Bahama Port Authority, that unfortunately has not been forthcoming. I think that's a fact that they themselves would admit. I think that there are changes that the Port Authority could implement in terms of the pricing structure as it regards doing business in Grand Bahama.
Johnson says economic recovery is needed right away, and all stakeholders must come together to rescue Grand Bahama from its economic woes.
I use the example of the Port Lakaya tourist zone as a classic example. The hotel strip which is there has been out of commission for nigh on 2 years now, and that would be a first step by the government to bring back some kind of economic regeneration for the island.
And he believes that there is another side to the downturn in the economy. This defense attorney says there is a noticeable upsurge in crime among the youth and believes that if citizens are to be taxed, funds should be used to assist with social programs.
That is the premise behind which we pay taxes in the first place, so that these funds can be expended not only to reduce the foreign debt that we have, but also to implement social programs and initiatives by the government using the funds that they generate from the local population.
Well, meantime, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance says that the government is doing its part to revive the Grand Bahama economy. He says while the turnaround isn't happening as fast as they would hope, he is assuring residents that Grand Bahama is priority. There's been many criticisms levied against the government, in particular here on Grand Bahama, where there are 5 sitting members of parliament on the island, one of whom is the Deputy Prime Minister. The DPM and Minister of Finance, Peter Turnquest, sat down with our ZNS News team to discuss plans for this island. He says that they are seeing some signs of success.
I'm very proud of the Minister for Grand Bahama and his initiative with respect to the Tech Hub, because we're seeing now real traction in respect to that, and we'll open the GIBC Digital in I think this week. Tangible jobs, high quality, well-paid jobs. The project in West End is likewise scheduled to provide real tangible durable, sustainable jobs, as well as a tech feature.
The DPM says that other projects are also set to come on stream, and they are working diligently to close the Grand Lucayan deal. But when it comes to the increase in value-added tax, there are some residents who believe that given Grand Bahama State, this island should have been exempted.
Unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of cherry-picking which island to give incentives to. You would appreciate that Freeport, and in fact the whole of Grand Bahama, already benefits from a favorable trade environment with respect to the customs duties exemptions as a result of the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement. It would be unfair to the rest of the Bahamas for Grand Bahama to be further exempted from its share of the burden that we're asking all Bahamians to bear.
Then there are those who claim that there is nothing in the 2018-2019 budget for Grand Bahama. But the DPM is adamant that all of the government's initiatives will benefit this island.
We're going to be setting up this small business development center with its main office in Nassau, but there will be a unit here to cater specifically to the needs of Grand Bahamians. We want people to get engaged in these small businesses, these small, medium-sized enterprises, and the government is setting aside 20% of its procurement budget to support that small, medium-sized sector. We want to make sure that we procure goods for Grand Bahama in Grand Bahama, which is something that was not done in the previous year.
The DPM is assuring residents that the government is focusing on Grand Bahama.
When you have properties like the Grand Lucayan and the Princess that have been icons in this community, trying to get them back up is just not an easy process. Every day we're working to ensure that the standard of life and the quality of life in Grand Bahama gets better, that we have the rebound that we want. We all live here. All of my investments are here, and so it is even in my personal interest, if they wanted to go there, to ensure that Grand Bahama survives and thrives.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Stay with us. There's more news right after this.